Okay, hi, can everyone hear me? Is this thing, everyone? Does that sound all right? Good? Okay, welcome to the Canyon City Planning Commission meeting Tuesday, September 19th, 2017. I'll call this meeting to order. Would everyone please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Denise, will you please call roll?
Certainly. Good evening. Vice Chairman Maloney,
Here?
Commissioner Bates,
Here.
Commissioner Dorito,
Here.
Commissioner Clark,
Here.
Commissioner Hamrick,
Here.
Commissioner Harmon,
Here.
Commissioner Ledoux,
Here.
and Council Member Gill.
Here.
Okay, we have two sets of minutes from July and August, so we'll separate them. I'm going to ask for a motion and a second to approve the minutes for the July 26th, 2017 special meeting. Was there any corrections? Okay, if none, then can I have a motion and a second, please?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
Okay. Ron and
Commissioner
Gary.
Clark.
Clark.
Yeah, that guy. Mark.
The other, yeah.
Commissioner Bates,
Aye.
Commissioner Clark,
Aye.
Chairman Maloney,
Aye.
Commissioner Dorito,
Aye.
Commissioner Hamrick,
Aye.
Commissioner Harmon,
Aye.
Commissioner Ledoux.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Now, approval of minutes, and now ask for approval of the minutes from the August 15th, 2017 regular meeting. Are there any corrections? None? I need a motion and a second, please.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Harmon, and Commissioner Hamrick.
Commissioner Harmon,
Aye.
Commissioner Hamrick,
Aye.
Chairman Maloney,
Aye.
Commissioner Bates,
Aye.
Commissioner Dorito,
Aye.
Commissioner Clark,
Aye.
and Commissioner Ledoux.
Aye.
Okay, item number 4 on the agenda is Annexation Advisory Committee for Great Western Storage Annexation at 3070 East Main Street. Can we have a staff report, please?
Yes, Chairman and members of the commission. Don Dill is the owner of Great Western Storage, and he is petitioning the city to come into the city. He is now in Fremont County. His property is located at 3070 East Main. The property is about a little over 3.5 acres, and you're acting in the capacity to make a recommendation to the council about this. This is not a public hearing in the strict sense of the word. The owner is here. I guess if you do have a question of him, we're going to discuss this briefly as to what, we have an annexation worksheet that you've been provided with. The staff will go through and make comments about that. If you have any questions, we can talk about it. I'm just going to run through it briefly with you. 3070 East Main is in, as you all know, I'm sure you all know where this property is. It's in a commercial strip on East Main, right off of just south of Highway 50. There are several pieces of property that are still not in the city yet that remain in the county, and this is one of those. Mr. Dill wants to put storage units on that at the back of the property. It's a long, narrow piece of property. And then in the future, to subdivide and do something build to suit at the front, perhaps retail, perhaps a restaurant is what he's suggested to us. The council adopted a resolution earlier in August that accepted his petition. You're now going to review the annexation criteria and make a recommendation. Then they will take that information, and on October 2nd, they will determine whether it's eligible to be brought into the city. that would actually change the boundaries of the city to incorporate his property. We did send referral comments. The city clerk also has to do a certain amount of noticing that goes into the paper for a period of several weeks. She also ends up sending information out to the special districts, like the school district, et cetera, that are required as a part of the state statute for annexation. So there's a lot of notice that goes on around this. It's also required at the time of annexation that within 90 days of a new property coming into the city, it must be zoned. And rather than waiting that 90 days or any time lagging, we also include that application always, as much as we possibly can, along with the annexation application. So you will be doing a public hearing right after this for that zone designation, just to give you that information. The referral comments that we send out are basically to, most prevalent is the sanitation district and the fire district. We also send to the utilities. We had no comments that were negative in any way for this application. So what I would advise you to do right now is let's look at the annexation criteria. The very first part of the annexation criteria is the main state statute requires 1/6 contiguity. That means that 1/6 of the entire boundary has to be, it has to coincide with the boundary of the city. So we do that particular calculation right away. And in that part 1 of the annexation criteria, it does say that that has been verified, and that is that 1/6 of the perimeter is contiguous with the city limits. It also has to lie within the urban growth boundary. We provided the urban growth boundary map to you so you can see where this property is. It also happens to be in the priority area for annexation. Those areas are marked in red. And that's been determined, that was determined way back in 2009. That map has not changed at all. So this is in the within the growth boundary and also within the annexation priority area. So we'll go on to part 2, and that is the annexation criteria that the city has established that should be looked at. And primarily, they want to make sure that the city is bringing in properties that can be easily served by urban services. So that's why we talk about things like, does it have access to streets? Does it have access to water and sewer and that kind of thing? Will the city have to, or any other utility, have to bring things into it in order for it to develop? And in this particular case, it's served by the Sand District and also by the Water Department. The city's zoning and subdivision regulations will apply. He is starting out, however, in the county. He wanted to start early, and so he is getting a building permit for his first building in the county, and then he will also comply with our site plan regulations. We're going through that with him right now. So just to let you know that. So all of the utilities are currently available. Obviously, this is, in a very developed area of the city already, so all of those utilities are available. There is, and I said he would pay a water tap fee. I do believe that there already is a water tap on the property. He will be paying a stormwater impact fee in building his first building. That comes at the site plan process. That isn't happening right now, but it will happen after he annexes. All subsequent building permits will be through the city, and he will comply with site plan. There isn't any current business activity on the property right now, and it is in the county's business zone. We're going to suggest that it be zoned to C commercial, which is general commercial. Seems appropriate. And it is also in a floodplain, and his development will require appropriate permitting. And that's the same in the county and as well as in the city. And he is also working on that as we speak. And from the perspective of the city, it is appropriate to take this in because it is commercial property. It is well within the development area. It is in the priority area for annexation. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. Can go from there.
Thank you, Terry. Are there any questions of staff? Commissioner Hamrick?
Yes. Yes, I do have a couple questions. I note that an annexation report is not required because this is under 10 acres.
That's correct.
And so, but my question is just one of comedy with the county. Have they been notified of this annexation
Yes.
action?
Yes, they have. Mhm.
Thank you.
They were referred that.
I have other questions. You want me to just continue
Yeah,
on until
yes,
until I
please.
run out?
Yeah, until you run out or
Okay.
run out of breath.
And so the additional criteria,
You got
Terry.
3 minutes, mister.
Oh,
No.
okay. You better turn it this way then. The additional criteria are within the city code somewhere, is that correct?
Yes, chapter 16 of
16.
the municipal code, yes.
Thank you very much. Okay, then I note that on number 18, it says, it's a question concerning remedial actions for the site. What have been the previous uses of the site?
I do believe that the previous use was mobile home sales. Is that correct, Don? It was mobile
sales.
home sales,
Pretty innocuous, okay?
yes.
Thank you. And then I'm looking at the additional annexation criteria number 19. It says a determination has been made regarding those improvements which need to be made, and it talks about future improvements that may apply, that they will be done. Has a determination, I believe from reading the whole application, that a determination has been made that no other improvements are necessary at this time.
There actually are going to be other improvements necessary. As far as I understand, he will be doing piping the ditch. That is a requirement of the city. And there will be curb gutter and sidewalk as well.
Thank you.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Piping the ditch the full length of that property in the front?
I do believe that is a requirement of the city.
Okay.
And then in the petition for annexation itself, I had a couple questions about that was provided in our packets. And the first one is just for my own edification. It says, it starts out, the undersigned landowner in accordance with the provisions of sections 31-12-101 at SEC and 12B. I did not understand what the 12B was referring to.
I don't have my
That
annexation
may be a
handbook.
typo or something. You may look at that. If this is like a form that is filled out, that may
Okay.
be a bad
Can you-
reference.
Okay, it could very well be. Could you tell me where that is?
So it's right at the beginning.
3112?
Petition for annexation to the city council, the undersigned landowner,
Right, is in the first,
sections of 31-12-101
One.
at SEC and 12B. It
okay.
says 12B, and that doesn't seem to be a valid reference.
I'm not sure what that is, and I will look at it and get back to you.
I have an additional question. Does this annexation create a Canyon City enclave within the county?
It does.
Let me ask my question in a different way, because this is kind of an important question. So does this annexation, does this leave an island of city within the county? And
It
it-
leaves an island of county within the city. So the property, just if you would look at
It
your.
is contiguous,
Yes,
so the city does, it is contiguous with the city,
Yeah.
but it does not cut off any county property, leaving it wholly surrounded by city property.
yes, it does.
It does.
And that is not illegal to do. In fact, that was one of the things that we looked at the very beginning. creating an enclave, the way this is created, others may have noticed this as well. And I don't think it's in this packet, it's in the zoning packet. So if you go to your zoning packet for this property, you will see the enclave that's created. That's the Wells Fargo property. This particular map, if you see this
Yes.
map, the area zoning,
Yes,
the property that's directly to the east at 3080 East Main,
yes.
that will remain county.
But
That's
then
not yeah.
it becomes an island.
It does. It becomes what's called an enclave. We
Right.
can go back later and annex that property.
But-
There aren't any issues around that. It simply is.
Correct, okay, thank you for that, that helps my understanding, and that was really the purpose of my question, is if it did create an enclave, are there issues? And the answer is no, so
That's correct.
That's good.
Let me just add a little bit around that. It is the plan of the city to, in this particular instance, in order to have taken both of those properties, or even others along here that are in the county, that would have slowed Mr. Dill down, and he didn't want to do that. As long as it did not create an illegality of any sort, we were certainly willing to just take his property, and we would deal with the Wells Fargo property later. Taking that a step further, it really is the intention of the city to take as many of these properties and get them into the city as we can. It doesn't make sense for us to be leapfrogging over properties from place to place. We fixed that last year by getting that piece of Highway 50 that was left out, and now we have to work on this, and it's just a matter of time and resources, but it is on our list.
Okay, moving back to the original application on the petition for annexation. So it's 2H, looking at 2H. Do you have that in front of you by chance?
2H. Are you talking about the annexation criteria,
So
or?
the petition, I'm
Oh,
talking
the
about the
petition,
petition.
okay. Just a sec. I don't think I'm gonna be a lot of help on the petition. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, the question, it says, so it's, the area sought to be annexed meets the requirements in that it says, and H says, if a portion of a platted street or alley is to be annexed, the entire width of said street or alley is included within the area to be annexed. And so is that, there is no such street or alley to be annexed in this case, isn't that correct?
That's correct.
Thank you. And I think that's all my questions.
Any other questions? Okay, so is there any comments from the audience at this time? No? There's two motions here. They're not listed as motions, but I'd now ask for a motion in a second. Basically, has been determined in the best interest of the city of Canyon City, the property be annexed. I need a motion and a second, please.
Mr. Chairman, I move that the Canyon City Planning Commission, in a public meeting on the above captioned annexation request, and after considering the annexation criteria pursuant to section 16.040.080G of the Canyon City Municipal Code, and testimony presented by city staff and other interested parties, finds that the annexation has been determined to be in the best interest of the city of Canyon City, and the property is to be annexed.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Commissioner Dorito. Denise, call roll, please.
Certainly. Commissioner Hamrick,
Aye.
Commissioner Dorito,
Aye.
Chairman Maloney,
Aye.
Commissioner Bates,
Aye.
Commissioner Clark,
Aye.
Commissioner Harmon,
Aye.
and Commissioner Ledoux.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. I now call for a motion and a second on the request based upon the findings. Commissioner Hamrick.
Chairman Maloney, based upon the above findings of fact, I move that, based upon the above findings of fact, the Canyon City Planning Commission hereby makes the following recommendation to this council of the city of Canyon City: approval of the Great Western Storage LLC annexation petition.
Second.
Second from Commissioner Bates. Denise, call roll, please.
Commissioner Hamrick,
Aye.
Commissioner Bates,
Aye.
Chairman Maloney,
Aye.
Commissioner Dorito,
Aye.
Commissioner Clark,
Aye.
Commissioner Harmon,
Aye.
Commissioner Ledoux.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. Thank you. Okay, based on the same property, we have a public hearing, zone designation to C Commercial Zone for Great Western Storage LLC at 3070 East Main Street. The provisions of the City Municipal Code, and in particular Title 17 thereof, the subdivision regulations, and the comprehensive plan of the City of Canyon City are incorporated into the record of the hearing as if set forth verbatim. Okay, I'll open this public hearing. Can we have a staff report, please?
Certainly. Mr. Dill, as you know, is requesting an annexation. Within 90 days, his property will need to be zoned. The zone designation suggested by staff and Mr. Dill is general commercial. The current zoning is B business in Fremont County. Notice was mailed to all the property owners within 300 feet, and the property was posted 15 days prior to this hearing. Most of this you already know. The land is vacant with one structure currently in the northeast corner. The land was formerly utilized as mobile home sales. He's planning to construct about 43,000 square feet of storage units over the next year, and with the eventual subdivision into a built-to-suit lot that may be retail or restaurant. We've reviewed the zone designation request and recommend approval. The proposed lot meets the minimum requirements of the the commercial zone district, and the property is adjacent to other commercial zoning as well as county business zoning. It also is, the zoning designation is in conformance with the comprehensive plan. There have been no inquiries, even though we did send written notice out to area property owners. We had no inquiries or about this. So you will be making a finding, as you would in any zone change, findings of fact and a recommendation in 2 motions, and that's on your findings, your advisory report. We've also provided the uses and yard and bulk requirements for the general commercial district, an excerpt from the zoning map, his application for zone designation, and then a draft again of the annexation plat. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them, and Mr. Dill is here if you have any questions of him.
Thanks, Terry. Mr. Dill, do you have anything, do you want to speak to the request at all? Can you come up to the podium? And just for the record, state your name and address, please.
My name's Don Dill, and I'm not exactly a stranger to Canyon City. I have Great Western Auto Sales here, Canyon Personal Warehouse, and Orchard Personal Warehouses here in town. I did want to answer a question that Gary Clark asked, and the oil ditch does run through this property, and half of it is covered and half of it is not. So I think the city will require that I cover the other half. I don't believe oil ditch really requires that, but that's the street improvements that I think will happen, and I think that'll be good for everybody. you know, it'll be a commercial lot on the north end eventually, and I think we can do parking like Big O. I don't think anybody has said who surrounds that property, but Sonny's Ace surrounds it, you know, borders it on the east. On the west, it's a guy named Javerneck, and then west of him is Big O Tire, and then the Forest Service is in that area. So, yeah, and as far as it's a kind of a difficult lot, really. It's 200 feet wide by 800 deep, so it's a little bit of a challenge to figure out what to do with it. I do have a storage unit in Salida, and it's about the same size, about 45,000 square feet. So not unfamiliar with storage units, but really I think what will be beneficial to the city is that acre on the north that will produce sales tax. So that is what I would see as your, you know, what you would be the most interested in, and the rest is just to kind of make the whole thing work.
Mr. Chairman?
Yeah, any questions of the commission?
Just one question.
Uh-huh.
Why do you want to be annexed into the city? Well, and I have one after that, but go ahead. What's the purpose, the reason?
Well, really, it's inevitable.
Okay.
that,
Oh, and you're
that-
probably correct
yeah,
there
and
because it's
I've
in
heard
the
about
primary
an
zone.
intergovernmental agreement
Okay.
between the county and the city. I've never seen it.
Okay.
But I think there is one, and it kind of doesn't make sense to have a whole city and then have
An island,
an
or an
island.
enclave, I think.
Yeah.
I learned a
So-
new word tonight.
The writing's on the wall there, really. And honestly, I think the city has worked with me really well. Terry's done a really good job. Adam, I like Adam. I've done several projects. Can you hear me okay?
Oh, yeah.
Done several projects with Adam. I was a little concerned about the building department because you've had some turnover, but that seems to be going okay. I've got Orchard personal warehouses that I'm doing, and that's, you know, everybody's jumped to the plate.
If they able to
and
get
been
the street
helpful.
done there, you'll be in better shape, right?
What's that?
When they get the street done there on Orchard, you'll be in better shape?
Well, yeah, I've been dodging traffic there, and I really kind of held that up because, you know, I want to bring in my fill, but I don't want to bring it in until the street's there. So
Kind of know what
it's-
you're filling too, right?
it's a little bit of a, I'm in a little bit of a waiting game until the street gets paved, but I can still shape it and, you know, not stand still, so.
And the other question I have, are you comfortable with, and this goes into both of these little parts, but are you comfortable with everything that needs to be done in order to achieve this?
Yeah, yeah, I'm comfortable. I don't see anything that's really out of line. You know, I've talked to the fire department. You know, a little bit of a challenge is going to be putting the sewer. I don't know if you guys realize it, but the sewer is 800 feet back to the south. So, you know, you have to do a little planning, you know, on the commercial part
Right.
because I'm going to be, when I'm building my storage units, I'll also be putting an easement that would go all the way back to the south
For the
end.
Sand District?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. So, yeah, and like I said, it's a little bit of a challenging lot because it's 200 feet wide and 800 deep. Not sure who laid it out, but it's not the easiest lot.
Thank you very much.
Any other questions of the applicant? Thank you, Mr. Dill. Are there any questions of staff at this time?
Jerry, or Commissioner Maloney, I was gonna ask, actually kind of, Mark took my question. I was gonna ask the applicant his reason for wanting to be in the city, but I was also wanting to ask Terry, can you provide some of the benefits to Mr. Gill coming into the city? I mean, we're putting some kind of costly improvements required on his lot, and I just wanna make sure it's the best fit for him.
Well, those improvements are ubiquitous with site planning when you're building from scratch.
Mhm.
That it is applicant's responsibility to put in improvements. I guess I'm not understanding, I mean, he's building a commercial venture for which hopefully he will make profits, and
Well,
then those.
I understand what the benefit is to the city. I'm just curious what the benefit is to the applicant. What's in it, I mean, if it, cost, the cost associated with it is indicative of what it brings him. What does he get for, you know, adhering to our requirements?
Well, those improvements to his property raise the value of his property.
Would the county require those same improvements?
I wouldn't know.
Okay.
I wouldn't know. They would or not.
And
Well, I guess
not
the-
stating that we don't want it, I was just trying to understand, you know, because there's some extra, I'm assuming some extra loops to be in the city, that are costly for Mr. Gill, and,
Not necessarily. I mean, I don't know what the county's.
If I can add something here,
Yeah,
perhaps,
sure.
maybe it'll help. If he annexes into the city now, and all of the improvements are done,
right,
okay? Like you said, it's probably inevitable that that will be annexed at some time. And when he goes to sell his property will have a higher value if it is annexed into the city and it's already got all of the city improvements done to it.
okay.
So I mean, that's one thing that I can see from a business end that would make sense.
There is also water rates, if you're in the city versus being outside the city.
Okay, okay.
Are much more lucrative
Okay,
as an inside person than an outside.
okay. Mostly I just want to make sure the applicant is getting some bang for his buck, so,
If he doesn't get it now, he'll get it when he sells it.
good to know.
Okay, any comments from the audience? Any further discussion from the commission? Okay, I'm going to close this public hearing and call for a motion in a second based on the testimony we just heard. Commissioner Hamrick?
Chairman Maloney. Excuse me. Chairman Maloney, I move that the Canyon City Planning Commission, upon conducting a public hearing on the above captioned zone designation request, and after considering the testimony presented by the applicant, city staff, and other interested parties, finds as follows: that public notice was properly given by mailing written notice to all property owners within 300 feet and by posting a sign on the properties as required by law, and that the proposed zone designation is appropriate for the properties being annexed and will be consistent with the overall land uses and zoning of other lands within the surrounding area.
I second it.
Commissioner Clark, second. Any further discussion? Denise, call roll, please.
Commissioner Hamrick,
Aye.
Commissioner Clark,
Aye.
Chairman Maloney,
Aye.
Commissioner Bates,
Aye.
Commissioner Dorito,
Aye.
Commissioner Harmon,
Aye.
Commissioner Ledoux.
Aye.
Okay, now I need to call for a motion in a second based on the findings of fact. Commissioner Bates, was that you?
That was me. I make the recommendation based upon the above findings of fact. The Canyon City Planning Commission hereby makes the following recommendation to the council of the city of Canyon City. Approval of the request for zone designation upon annexation.
Second.
Commissioner Dorito, second. Okay, Denise, call roll, please.
Commissioner Bates,
Aye.
Commissioner Dorito,
Aye.
Chairman Maloney,
Aye.
Commissioner Clark,
Aye.
Commissioner Hamrick,
Aye.
Commissioner Harmon,
Aye.
Commissioner Ledoux.
Aye.
All right, thank you, Mr. Dill. Number 6 on the agenda, Terry. Was there a request
Oh.
to table?
Yes, if I might, the applicant has requested that this be tabled again. We will put this on the agenda for October 25th. I hope this is the last time, and then we will actually be able to hear and make a decision, make a recommendation about this. So
Question.
we're,
He's not, we haven't approved anything else for him until this is done, have we?
No, nothing that would require your approval. Some time ago, they had a subdivision exemption process that went through, and they changed some lot lines, but nothing to do with rezoning.
Okay.
So will this come up next meeting, possibly?
Yes.
Okay.
October 25th, so you will hear this application, a zone change.
Okay, thank you. Moving on, item number 7, public hearing, special review use for recreational facility fitness center at 320 Main Street in the Central Business District. The provisions of the city municipal code, and in particular Title 17 thereof, the subdivision regulations, and the comprehensive plan of the city of Canyon City are incorporated into the record of the hearing as if set forth verbatim. Can we have a staff report, please, Terry?
Yes, sir. This is a special review use for a recreational facility. A fitness center is considered a recreational facility in the municipal code. This is located at 320 Main Street in the Central Business District. Written notice was mailed to all property owners at least 15 days prior to this hearing as required. The fitness center is going to be located on the south side of Main Street in the 300 block and occupy about 5,000 square feet of floor space. They have provided a site plan in their application. It is a 24-hour facility that provides a number of products and services that's geared to health and wellness, including the traditional free weights, circuit training, massage services, cardio workouts, sauna, aqua massage, and they can explain what that is. They will not have 24-hour supervision of the facility, but I have indicated in the staff report that for the most part during business hours, the facility will be staffed, and then reduced hours on Saturday and by appointment on Sunday. They have 24/7 video surveillance that is web and cell phone accessible. And each member is provided with a key fob for entrance overnight or when the center is not otherwise open. They hope to achieve about 500 total paying members, with 250 joining within the first 2 years. They estimate usage to be about 35 patrons a day with an average visit of 50 minutes. The heaviest usage obviously would be early morning and after work hours. Overnight, they average about 9 patrons between the hours of 10 and 8, 10 p.m. and 8 a.m. They are not providing any dedicated off-street parking, and nor do they need to. All of the central business and on Main Street is exempt from providing parking. According to the applicant, the sound system within the facility is set to an ambient level, and similar locations that they are familiar with, have not experienced any problems with noise. The Central Business District zoning is generally to the north, to the east and west, and then general commercial to the south across the alley. Surrounding land uses are all commercial. We are aware that there's at least one second-floor residence adjacent to this building, and there may be others within the block. I'm not that familiar with apartments or lofts that may be on the second floors. But we are aware that there's one second-floor residence adjacent. Referral comments are located in your staff packet. And staff comments basically, although this is, this special review use is really the highest level of review for any kind of a use. And the code makes it certain kinds of uses available even though they are not permitted uses. But if they are looked at individually by the Planning Commission and by the council, they may establish certain conditions or whatever that would make those uses appropriate where they are suggested to be located. This is not in the hub of the activity area for downtown. It's not between 4th and 7th, which was identified as that major business area, although it is nevertheless on Main Street. There is a mix of uses on Main Street, both commercial and residential. This appears to be an appropriate, at least from a planner's point of view, an appropriate use. It is complementary to other uses that are downtown. It can, and perhaps if it is successful, bring other people downtown for varieties of uses. When people come and partake of exercise, they may also go eat and go shop and that kind of thing. And they're looking for quite a few members. Parking is always an issue, but again, from the staff's perspective, there is not a parking issue downtown. There is parking available. It may not always be right in front of your storefront, but there is a lot of parking. And if we should be so lucky to have a parking problem. That's kind of what we're going for when we're talking about a successful downtown. So I would say that we're all, patrons downtown are going to have to share their parking. There's a lot on each block and on side streets. And so we would not consider this to have a parking problem given the numbers of folks that are attending, that would be attending this place on a regular basis. The only other thing was possibly noise. We asked them to respond to that. And they said that they have, again, they don't have really loud, boom box type music playing. It's only set at a very low level. I will also say that with mixed uses downtown, we have to acknowledge not only do we share parking, but downtowns are vibrant and sometimes they're noisy. If you want to live downtown, sometimes you might live over a bar, you might live over a street, you might, obviously you're gonna live over the street. You might be living over a restaurant, retail, things that are noisy. So I think that when you live downtown, you have to kind of certainly experience or be willing to experience some of that type of activity that's going on. I don't see that this is going to be providing or posing problems from what the applicant has said. So the staff, we'd have no noise requirements on top of that. And so I would suggest that we not address it through any kind of conditions. You can consider any number of development features. Staff did not find that there were any to consider except for the very minimal. If you turn to page 4, these are pretty much standard conditions on a special review use. The applicant would have to, on page 4 under recommended conditions of approval, this applicant would have to get required building, electrical, plumbing permits for any remodels that they would be doing. They would be held to their material representations. The things that they have said that they will do is what we will hold them to. And that this approval will only extend to Snap Fitness. If they abandon the use or they don't ever start it up in a year, then that approval goes away. We did not have any written comments about this. We had one inquiry that was made about the 24-hour aspect of the use, and that was a concern, but did not get any written comments. So I would tell you that your advisory report is right behind the staff report. We gave you an area zoning map, gave you some excerpts from the code about special review uses and criteria, provided the referral comments and also the application and their supporting documents. They provided a lot of information on their application, and I do believe their representative is here. And so is the applicant, Michelle Miller. So if you have any questions, I'm sure they would be happy to answer.
Would you like to come up and talk about the facility? Please state your name for the record.
Michelle Miller. And if you, would you mind if I just hand these out really quick to you folks? Is that
No,
okay?
that's okay, yeah.
Thank you.
If you would, Michelle, make sure you give one to the secretary also, and to me. That would be great.
It's okay.
Is that a free month membership? You can't, yeah, no undue influence on the commission.
Thank you. Thanks.
We're way ahead of schedule, take your time.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hi. Thank you.
And those are going, in merchants, store fronts. They're allowing us to do, put those, which they're.
Sure, give me one off the bottom. There's the special. Those things cost money.
Thank you.
So if there's anything you'd like to tell us about the facility, go ahead.
Yes. So Mr. Hurtado, our business manager, is here with us as well. Him and I have both been running Snap Fitnesses for the last 6 years. We've been with the corporate company. Mr. Hurtado has ran our Colorado facility and is our regional manager for our New Mexico site. I ran our New Mexico site, new owner of both sites. We just previously moved our New Mexico site to Canyon City. We were contemplating between Taos, New Mexico and Canyon City. We did go look at them. Mr. Hurtado said you have to have an open mind, come look at Canyon City, and I fell in love with it. So I'm hoping that this will be my new home. I will be here running the facility. Mr. Hurtado will be running my other facility in southern Colorado. I've been in the profession for about 25 years now. Certified nutrition, certified personal trainer. Our facility, there's a few things that we specialize in. I mean, the biggest reason I'm in this profession is not the fitness part of it, but it's more of a lifestyle change. It's the overall wellness on one's longevity, I would say. But we do offer. I used to be a manager of Curves for Women in Alamosa, Colorado, is where I come from, a native. We do take in consideration that women don't feel confident in going into a gym. So we have a private area for the women. Our men, no disrespect, we have them back in the back because they like to grunt and they like to lift heavy weight. So we put them back in the back, but we're a one-stop shop where we've got CrossFit. I do believe there's a CrossFit right around the corner from us. What we like to do is we like to tag team with our local businesses. We like to collaborate with them. In Trinidad, we collaborate with Hot Yoga on Main Street. So we offer a punch pass. They're welcome, their clients are welcome to come and use our facility and vice versa. So we don't want to pull from any other health club facility. That's not what we're here for. We just want to do the one-stop shop and offer more of a little variety. I'm into holistic nutrition, overall wellness. We do have a live massage therapist. Eventually, we will go into acupuncture. We have an aqua massage, which is warm water, and you're all welcome to come and experience a complimentary visit. Warm water that pulsates on your neck all the way down to your feet and back up. You do not get wet. If you have lower back issues, you can push the button and it'll stop on that and target that one area. We do have a sauna. We do have, it's called our Fitness on Demand room. We've got 200 different classes. You program in a Pilates class or a yoga class on the computer, and a big screen pops down. You close the door and you can take a private class of Pilates or yoga. We've got about 200 different virtual classes with an instructor. Eventually, when I get to know people in the community, I would like to offer live classes. We do specialize, we do cater to our diabetics. We've got a big diabetic program in Trinidad, Colorado. We cater to our veterans. Mr. Hurtado is a well-certified personal trainer. He wears many hats, poor guy, but he's also a government contractor, and he just does a lot of things for our area. So with all that being said, we do like to the veterans and the disability, and that's the area target that this gym is more for those that are informed of a better, healthier lifestyle. Really quick, I think it was, 28 years ago. Unfortunately, my mother passed away at the age of 49 due to complications to diabetes at 300 plus pounds. As soon as she stopped breathing, I went into labor with my second daughter immediately. Unfortunately, she inherited her grandmother's heavy genes. We kept her active in sports. As soon as she graduated high school, she started to gain weight. Her hips and knees started to go out. So we took her to a highly recommended nutritionist. They put her on a regimen that just was amazing. It was easy attainable goals. I ended up getting certified in it, and a couple of years ago I was chosen top 10 personal trainer worldwide representing Snap Fitness. Not last year, but the year before, I was chosen top 5 personal trainer representing the West Coast, and that was including Anytime Fitness, Gold's Gym, Planet Fitness. I didn't get top trainer of the year, but I did get top 5, and I was honored at the Broadmoor. So a little bit about me: I'm driven, I'm ambitious. I like to give things away for free, shame on me, but free, Mr. Hurtado says, does not pay. Love does not pay the bills, and puts a roof over my head. But so my heart is truly compassionate for those that are just lacking the knowledge of a well-rounded nutritional regimen and just more active. We do honor a program that is Silver Sneakers, it's called, which is no cost to our Silver Sneakers if their insurance, if they have a certain insurance. There's a new one out there called Silver and Fit, which is offered to a free membership offered to the younger clientele if their insurance qualifies for that. We do have a program. We take each client, and it's their choice, through a consultation, and we get them familiar with the equipment in the gym area. We have a program called the Basic 8. We issue them out a workout card. At the bottom, it has pictures and 8 machines, and those 8 machines are numbered out on the floor. It's low resistance equipment that's easy on your joints and your muscles, and things like that. So there's always guidance when you become a member with us. As far as 24 hours, we have collaborated with the local police, PD, in our other facilities, which we've reached out a little bit here. So what the other police officers do in our other locations, they surveillance. They drive when they're on duty. They always circle the parking lot. They always, if somebody's in there, they're always watching for people if need to be. Mr. Hurtado and I have talked about if we need to put surveillance cameras on the side of the building where they park on the side, because I believe there's an ordinance in the morning, early hours. So if we need to do that, we are willing to do that. Safety comes first in our facility. And then of course, Mr. and Mrs. Lloyd have been a godsend. I mean, no disrespect, but you folks, it's slim pickings out there. So, and that's a good thing for you, but commercial area is just tough to find. And then we did find some out at the 4 Mile, and unfortunately, I can't afford that. That's very out of my hands, so, sorry.
Okay. Well, let's see if anyone has any additional, you covered a lot, but does
Okay,
anyone have any
sorry.
questions of the applicant?
Commissioner, I have a question.
Commissioner
Or,
Clark?
Chairman, I'm sorry. Are you guys affiliated with the Snap Fitness in Pueblo West, or is it just a corporate issue, or just?
They are, Mr. Matt Smith is a close friend of ours. He is privately owned as well. So he is excited to see us come to the area. He's been a mentor for us at times. So to answer your question, we're in the same, once you become, and this is what our fob, I think our key card looks like. It's a global access card. We'll get you into any of our 2,000 different locations worldwide. Pueblo West is our biggest one worldwide, my understanding. So they can drive over to Pueblo West and use that gym as well. So,
Thank you.
yes, sir.
Any other questions?
Yes.
Go ahead. Commissioner Hamrick?
Probably both for the applicant and for staff. It says building under criteria, it says the building is a historic Main Street storefront. That's not an official designation, except perhaps in our different planning documents. I mean, it's not a National Historic Preservation Act historic building, is that correct? It is on the historic register.
Yes. It is listed also in our historic, the city did a survey I don't know, several years ago. It's probably been 10, maybe more. And that building is in that as well. So it is historic.
Thank you. It's my understanding that there can be additional requirements because of the listing for,
Only if you change something structurally.
structurally.
There'll be no structural changes. It will all be spruce up and cosmetic. Sorry.
Thank you. I heard the answer.
Okay. Well, I'm not so sure that the record heard the answer, so.
Oh, God. Can you come up to the podium, please?
No, just come on up and say what you said. The other thing about that is, he knows more about his property than I do, but I do believe too that as long as we're not dealing with facade changes, that they can do interior.
Lloyd Moore. My wife and I are the owners of the building, have been for 40-something years. We are well acquainted with the business area and with the business in the 300 block of Main Street. We had businesses there for about 30 years. And the building has no plans for structural changes. It will all be cosmetic. It will be spruce up and restore integrity to the historic era of the building. The interior will be basically painting and flooring and that sort of thing, mirrors and so on, that will be part of their business necessities, and but no structural changes are in the plans.
Thank you. And an additional question. That one of the conditions that will likely be included is that the applicant shall obtain all required building, electrical, and plumbing permits for the required changes. And in the past, sometimes those have involved health and safety issues such as fire code. A lot of our older buildings are not necessarily fire code compliant as they sit today, and that the question is, are you aware that additional requirements may come in through the other permits that may be required?
The electrical is all up to code. The sewer is original, but it's in good working order. Additional restrooms will have to be put in, and we will have to have state plumbing inspector for all of that. As far as the fire code, I don't know of anything that will present a problem, but we will try to meet that if it becomes a problem.
And I just wanted to make sure that you understood that there could be other requirements that come in through some of the permits that you might
Yes.
have to get.
And just to fill you in a little bit, Michelle and John have already met with the building department and have gone through some of the preliminary aspects of them getting building permits for their needs. So they're well up on what's involved.
Great.
And it should be minimal.
Information is good.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Moore.
If I can just introduce my business manager, Mr. John Hurtado, he knows all the specs and things like that.
Okay.
Good evening, and thank you for your time. Specifically to address your concerns, one of the things that we're required by the as a franchisee through Snap Fitness Corporate is that we pass everything through them already pre-stamped, having gone through fire, state plumbing and electrical. That's one of their requirements upon us before we even actually come to get our building permit. We're fully aware of the fact that, yes, there are going to be some other changes required, probably specifically on this facility due to fire code. But we're fully aware of that and have an understanding of it.
I'm glad to hear that. That's not always been the case with some other applicants that have come before us. We just want to make sure that you understand that there can be other requirements.
Yes. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, guys. Any other questions of staff from the commission?
I've got one, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
You mentioned, Michelle, that you spoke to the police department here about oversight at night?
I have met a few of the gentlemen on the force, but we haven't actually went down there to actually talk to them. But I did say that we would be going over there and speaking with them, because that's important to open that.
And that's not part of the city process, is it, to contact the police department about something like that? Or
We did not.
I don't believe it is, but.
Sometimes we can refer to the police department. I did not, as the planner on this particular project, I did not believe that that was necessary. So no, they were not contacted.
Okay. I just encourage doing it, just because, I mean, we seem to have a shortage periodically of police officers. So it'd be nice to make sure you've got that covered completely.
And one of the things specifically to address that, another requirement of our corporate franchise agreement is that we have within our facility first alert bracelets or pendants for either handicapped, people with heart issues, things like that. The other thing that we do have a requirement driven down to us is that we have emergency buttons that are directly tied into the 911 system. Within the facility, a minimum of 2 emergency buttons that are accessible and actually signage pointing those out. What we did in our other 2 facilities is we actually, since we did have both PD and SO, Police Department and Sheriff's Office, as members, collective members within our facilities, as a courtesy, whenever they were on shift, they would simply drive by and just kind of take a peek, and if there was activity, they may or may not stop. But one of the things we are considering is putting additional security cameras outside of the facility for those late night patrons that may be attending for further security issue, to address further security issues.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions? Thank you, guys. Any further comments from the audience? Hearing none, I'm going to close this public hearing. And I'd like to call for a motion and a second based on the testimony. Motion number 1.
Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Hamrick.
Mr. Chairman, I move that the Canyon City Planning Commission, following consideration of the above captioned special review use request, and after considering the testimony presented by the applicant, city staff and any other interested parties, finds as follows. Notice of the public meeting was properly given as required by law, and the application does comply with the requirements, with all requirements of Chapter 17.24 of the CCMC and any applicable written rules in the following respects. The applicant has provided a complete and accurate application, including all required supplemental documentation, and has paid the application fee. And the application is consistent with the purposes of the zoning ordinance as declared in section 17.04.020 of the CCMC in the following respects. The applicant has addressed the location, nature of the request, and character of the surrounding property to ensure that the proposed use will be compatible with surrounding land uses and with the goal of promoting coordinated and sound development in the neighborhood. And the special review use is designed to be compatible with surrounding land uses and the area of its location in the following respects. Use is ancillary and appropriate to the Main Street businesses and residents. The use will not generate objectionable noise, odor, or other environmental influence. On-street parking is available.
Thank you, Commissioner Hamrick. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Who said that first? Commissioner Clark,
James.
second. Any further discussion? Denise, call roll, please.
Pardon me. Commissioner Hamrick,
Aye.
Commissioner Clark,
Aye.
Chairman Maloney,
Aye.
Commissioner Bates,
Aye.
Commissioner Dorito,
Aye.
Commissioner Herman,
Aye.
Commissioner Ledoux.
Aye.
Okay, I now call for a motion and a second on the request based upon the findings.
I'll make that motion, Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Harmon,
I move that based upon the findings of fact and after having considered the development features of the proposed use, the Canyon City Planning Commission hereby makes the following recommendations to the Canyon City City Council. Approval of the special review use request with the following modifications and/or conditions. Number 1, the applicant shall obtain all required building, electrical, and plumbing permits for any construction and alterations that may be necessary. Number 2, unless otherwise modified by this approval or other subsequent decisions of the City Council as it may apply to this request, all material representations made by the applicant in its application submittal and/or in any public hearing shall be binding upon the applicant. The applicant's failure to perform in accordance with such material representations could result in the revocation of this approval. Number 3, the approval herein granted shall extend only to Snap Fitness and as the use is represented in this application and will terminate if the use is abandoned or is not established within 1 year of the date of the approval.
thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Commissioner Bates. Any further discussion? Denise, call roll, please.
Commissioner Herman,
Aye.
Commissioner Bates,
Aye.
Chairman Maloney,
Aye.
Commissioner Dorito,
Aye.
Commissioner Clark,
Aye.
Commissioner Hamrick,
Aye.
Commissioner Ledoux.
Aye.
Motion passes. Good luck, guys.
I love this idea.
Welcome.
Good luck.
Keep us posted. Okay. I think we just have some housekeeping stuff now, correct? All right, we had a change to the bylaws. Is this just about our meeting date and time?
Yes, that change is, this is a new set of your bylaws incorporating the new day and time. I'm sorry.
Oh, yes, sir. Thanks.
We will.
Okay, thank you. So these are the new bylaws, and it incorporates the new day and time for your record. Not that we're gonna look at it necessarily, but it's always a good idea to bring these to the hearing. It's part of your packet. And then also, this is the calendar. Our new day is the fourth Wednesday, beginning October 25th at 6 o'clock. And at this point, I don't know if the attorney is going to be attending by phone or in person. That may change depending on their availability, and it also may change depending on the type of application we may have for at a given night. So, just wanted to let you know that, keep this. We may want to also, at that meeting, consider postponing the November, or canceling the November meeting, but we can talk about that next month if you'd like to, because as you remember, that will be the Wednesday night before Thanksgiving. That was all I had to say.
Okay, do we need to approve the revised bylaws, or?
That was
We've-
done
we've already done
last
that.
month.
Do we need to approve the calendar?
We did that last month too.
Okay.
So that's just for your records.
Your reading pleasure.
Your reading pleasure.
If there's nothing else for the good, Commissioner Hamrick.
Chairman Maloney, I'd like to say I'm running for city council unopposed, and the city charter does require that no more than one position be held at a time by members, and so unless I come back in some incarnation like Commissioner Gill here, I will be resigning probably after the November election.
How about after the first of the year?
Right.
Sometime after the November, yes.
And
after
you
the first
found
of the
your
year. Once-
replacement, correct?
Excuse me?
And you have found your replacement, correct?
I have
That's
not.
criteria.
Isn't that the city council? So maybe I pump that to myself, right?
On that note, well, congratulations, but are you sure you're unopposed? No one wanted to run against you?
No,
Okay.
not against me.
On that note, I do
He's
have
brutal.
interest of applicants. Should they contact you, Terry, or,
They could contact me or the city clerk, Kathy Robbie.
okay.
In fact, she would probably be the most appropriate person is the city clerk. She fills the position. And yes, we'll take you for as long as we can have you, John.
Okay.
And I think that might be through December.
Through
because-
December?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, I don't think
How
he
it
has to
works
do
out.
anything
Right.
until just before he's sworn,
right.
at or in.
Yeah, you
Right.
can't get out. All right, anything else, guys?
I don't have anything.
Okay. Well, meeting adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.